Joining us now, Fox News contributor, former Speaker of the House, and author of Trump's America, Newt Gingrich. Mr. Speaker, it's always a pleasure to see you. I am dying to hear what you have to say about this. What do you say about the president potentially using emergency authority to get this wall built?
Well, if the lawyers tell him that it will withstand a court challenge, he has every right to do it. He's commander-in-chief. And the Congress has allocated money for the defense of the United States. But I do think that there's a certain value to him fighting this out. Every day that goes by, it's more obvious that the Democrats don't value the safety of Americans nearly as much as they value the convenience of people trying to get here illegally. And every day that goes by, I think the fact that the Democrats won't compromise, Nancy Pelosi saying, if you give me everything I want, I still won't give you the wall. I think that attitude is a really bad way for them to start with the new Congress. And so I think in many ways this is a key moment for the president in defining what's at stake for the country and in shaping the next 2 years.
Will the Republicans continue to stand with him? That's what, in terms of, will their knees buckle? Or do they have the guts to stand with him?
It doesn't matter. If he's prepared to veto a bill, he's certainly going to keep 1/3 plus 1 of the Senate and 1/3 plus 1 of the House, so he'll sustain any veto he wants. If some Republicans at the margin want to be timid, they want to be panicked, they want to run in circles, that's the way our constitutional system works. A president who's tough and determined has enormous advantages. And I think that he, in many ways, can relax and just say, first of all, Senator McConnell has said he won't bring up a bill the president won't sign. So it's not going to go through the Senate. And Nancy Pelosi can, she can perform a ballet act. She can dance in circles. She can jump up and down. She can become a gymnast. It won't matter. It's not going to change anything because she can't force it through.
Mr. Speaker, it sounds like you don't think the president should declare national emergency, but simply let the thing play out. Is that what you're saying? You'd advise him not to do that? He's winning already. Why mess it up?
Well, look, I think if you got... first of all, I think what he has said all along is the right position. He is not going to sign this appropriation unless
but you don't think he should do the national
commit
emergency.
themselves to solving it.
You say he can, but you don't think he should.
I think that it is less powerful than winning this fight. He's got to decide what he wants to do. But I always tell people, when you start thinking about any kind of campaign, military, political, you always have to say, then what? Okay, tomorrow morning he declares a national emergency. It goes to court immediately, but nonetheless we're moving in the right direction. He can't really declare victory over the Congress. At that point, what he's done is had a clever detour to get around the Congress, and that's not going to solve the long-term problem. The long-term problem is Nancy Pelosi, who has a crazy wing of her party now, a wing which is totally out of touch with reality. Nancy Pelosi right now thinks that she is the equal of the president. I went through this, and we won and ultimately got a very important agreement with President Clinton because we had a principled, positive goal. Nancy Pelosi's goal is purely negative. Our goal was to get to a balanced budget, which, as you know, Steve, we're the only people in your lifetime to produce 4 consecutive balanced budgets. And that came out of having what was tied today as the longest shutdown in history.
Just quickly, Mr. Speaker, gets to another thing. The Democrats are talking about a 70% tax rate and all that kind of thing. When are the Republicans going to put something exciting on the table, go on offense, like a flat tax, put something exciting out there for the American people instead of letting the Democrats dominate the agenda on taxes?
Well, I hope they'll do it pretty quickly because although I must say, if you want to think about a suicidal party, being the party that runs next year, vote for me and I'll raise your taxes to 70%. I don't see how a New Yorker survives that. I hope every successful person in New York is looking at what the left wing of their party wants to do to them. Because as you know, when you combine state, city, and federal taxes, a 70% rate would just be a killer.
Well, and the congresswoman who threw that idea out there, how many days had she been an actual member of Congress? And they've put her on 60 Minutes, for Pete's sake, but that's another problem. The government shutdown, Newt, Mr. Speaker, reaching day 21, that ties the 95-96 government shutdown under the Clinton administration. You remember this well. You were Speaker. You were just talking about it. You were Speaker during this shutdown. It was, if you look back, though, do you have any regrets about what happened back then?
No, and I think the Washington establishment is just totally wrong about this. We were the first Republican Congress in 40 years. We had a position we believed in deeply. We were prepared to fight over it. The reward was, in 1996, we became the first Republican House reelected since 1928. I mean, all these so-called Washington smart people go around and say, boy, that really hurt the Republicans. We're the first people to get reelected in 68 years. And it's because our base believed that we're real, that we were committed to welfare reform, we're committed to the largest capital gains tax cut in history, we're committed to balancing the budget. The president has the same thing going for him. I mean, he has communicated he's a man of strength, he's a man of determination, he's committed to protecting Americans, and I think every day that this goes on, the Democrats are in danger of looking like a party that doesn't care about American lives, doesn't care about American families, and is, frankly, the party of illegal immigration rather than protecting America.